Hello, everyone, and welcome to RPGECOM channel. Whenever you see it on Facebook or YouTube, you are at the right place to hear something new and cool about Amazon. My name is Guy Hertz, the CEO and co-founder of RPGECOM, Amazon full services agency. And with me today is an expert in a topic that no one really wanna dive into or understand completely. So we're here to break it down. Lawrence Lipman, thank you for being here, um, directly from the States. And you have to say something about insurance. And you know a couple of things about it, right? After making what is it, hundreds, thousands of policies?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate to have over 300 Israeli Amazon resellers as my clients. I went to Israel in 2020 during the pandemic to help launch what's called an insurtech startup, an insurance startup in the United States it's called now Fay. It was ranked the #1 Israeli startup by Calcalist
Mm-hmm.
the other day. So wonderful company, Elad Schaefer, Daniel Green, wonderful co-founders that are doing a fantastic app for travel insurance in the United States for now, based on Travel Passport and their culture of taking care of their customers, right? Doing everything they
Mm-hmm.
can when somebody has an issue and needs to get to where they're going and to their loved ones, and giving, incredible service. The same kind of an idea, but in America. And America's not, of course, used to service. So I was really lucky to be in Israel helping the team create Fay. And while I was there, I met a woman really nice who's telling me her problems with Amazon and how they were making her buy insurance. And was there anything I can do to help? And of course, I said, yes, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, so this is how your journey started. And you never look back. Okay, so I personally know you for what was it, like more than I think around 2 years when we started to cooperate.
Mhm.
And I can say that every single client of RPGECOM that wanted or came to the right criteria to have an insurance policy on Amazon was referred to you. And I'm here to say that it works. And not only it works and it's legit, it's also very affordable. And actually, this is the best. You provide best prices that I've seen in the market. So it's all the package, guys. So let's dive into the first of all to quickly understand what is it, product liability insurance on Amazon. If you can elaborate.
So this is really not a fair thing for many Israeli resellers. In fact, many resellers. You're being forced to do something you really don't want to do, but in a sense, it is a good thing. It's something like, when you're a little kid, they make you take medicine. You don't want to take it, but it's the right thing to do, and it works out
Yeah.
in the long term. It's similar with this insurance. Israeli or all resellers were required to buy general liability or products liability insurance. And Amazon created a website with a really big insurance company to do it. But it was a very hard experience for many people. The rates were awful. It was cumbersome to work with. But to answer your question specifically, what is it for? The United States is the most litigious culture in the world. Nobody wants to accept responsibility for their own actions. So if I'm at McDonald's and I spill coffee in my lap, I will sue McDonald's because the coffee's too hot, right? Not that I'm an idiot and spilled the coffee, it's my fault. I would never, as an American, think it would be my fault. It's McDonald's fault for the coffee to be too hot. So that literally is what ends up happening is when people buy something, even though your item could be jewelry, they could say, oh, my finger is infected, and well, maybe they should have washed their hands, but they'll attribute part of the problem to the metal or something, right? Whether it's a good lawsuit or a bad lawsuit, well, none are good, but it's bad for you because you need somebody to protect you, to go to court on your behalf and defend against this insanity. And so normally, if you didn't have the insurance, you'd have to hire a lawyer, you'd have to spend a lot of money, and that lawyer would then hopefully get it dismissed and it goes away. But you can do it a lot less expensively if you're a reseller by buying insurance, a policy, and let the experts deal with it, let them make it go away and not ruin your life so much. And that's really what this is all about.
And this has actually happened. Like, have you seen scenarios where, Amazon sellers were sued, or?
Yes, that was the example actually of a person who sells $100,000 a year of jewelry, is paying only $300 a year for the insurance, right? Gets a letter, a mean and nasty email saying, I think your jewelry isn't made right because my fingers is swollen and it's turning green, and you need to pay for my medical bills. So that's how it started, and ended up happening with the insurance company, took care of it, made it go away, and in effect, the person just got the renewal in this example, and her rates are the same as last year. So, I mean, it's not a terrible thing to happen. It's a terrible thing to deal with, but it's not something horrible in the sense that this is what the insurance companies do and deal with all the time.
Unfortunately, it's like car accidents. You say all the time, it will not happen to me, until bummer, it happens. So you need to cover yourself. So a couple of years ago, when Amazon introduced this was like Amazon saying, I want to cover, first of all, as well myself as a marketplace. And that's why if you want to sell on my marketplace, you should cover also yourself. Otherwise, I will not, take any responsibility. You are the seller, you are the third party to be sued. So this is actually what Amazon was saying. What was it, like 4 years ago, something like that. So does every seller on Amazon need to have a policy, or there's like a certain criteria where it's more recommended?
Once you hit $10,000 of sales in a year, then you're forced to have to go out and buy it, right? That's the threshold. So I think that that's a great thing for somebody to hit that threshold, and then therefore they're going. It looks like things will be going good, and it's something you should consider as a business. But Amazon makes you consider it as a business, like you pointed out, Guy. In the past, before they made you buy the insurance, Amazon was dealing with all these small little claims. They were writing the checks, and the checks got to be such an amount. When they looked at it, they said, no more. Let's have our sellers deal with it.
Okay, so in other words, guys, if you're selling on Amazon and you have a serious intentions on building your Amazon store for the long term, which basically, if you're investing in this private model, FBA model, you should have these intentions. Otherwise, it's not a stroll in the park. You need to get an insurance. So here we're gonna do a quick demo showing you guys how actually we do that. But I'm already a spoiler. Beneath this video, in the text below, we'll post a link to a questionnaire, to a quick survey where you can fill in your information. It's a couple of questions that are actually very necessary for us in order to craft your insurance, and you will be able to get a quote from us, and we can help you with that. Something very important to mention very quickly is that we guys are not making any money on top of what you are paying, okay? Because it's not like a regular service we want to sell you or something like that. It's very important to mention that your policy, whatever the insurance company, in this case you see Next, is offering you, this is what you pay. And here we are here definitely to provide you the solutions like RPGECOM always does. And it's very important that you will know that there is no extra fees on top of that for us. So on the worst scenario, you will just like have Lawrence here to help you, to answer your questions and so on, like he does with 300 plus clients already till now. Many of them are our RPGECOM clients. So we are here to show you actually, once we will receive your answers in the report, we'll be able to go through this process that you're going to see right now, So you will, see transparently what we are doing and how we craft your policy. So go ahead.
Thank you. So it's really simple in the sense that you see the word Next, that's one of the insurance companies. It's very popular, but they're also very hard to get, right? So I work with about 30 insurance companies. 5 really are really good with e-commerce customers. So the first thing we do is we make sure that we categorize you correctly as e-commerce. The next would be, what state are you in? And this is also one of the questions you'll get from me, is that you need to have a United States address, right? Where it could be your friend, your mother, it could be your address. It could be the address of where your stuff is warehoused, or if you have an LLC or a C Corp, that address, right? But we need to have an address because every state in the United States is like a different country with their different rules and regulations for insurance that they demand that the carriers include or exclude from coverage. So
actually, there's different services that provide you a U.S. address for those that are unable to find an address. So it's doable, guys. You can put mine if you want.
Okay, well, yeah,
okay.
I was thinking about how to do that, right? So I'll do Guy at RPG.
Yeah, Guy at RPGECOM.com. That's okay. No, RPGECOM.com. Yeah. So you need to delete the dot, this com, and then com. Yeah, exactly.
So this is for your e-commerce insurance. You'll see that there's, when I look at it, I look at 2 things. One is you need the general liability. That's the basic coverage that you need. So I will always check that box. But the property box, I'll only check if you have over $5,000 worth of stuff at a warehouse in the United States. Unfortunately, these warehouses get robbed all the time. They have fires, they have water damage, and you're at risk. So I don't want you to be at risk if you have significant stuff, that you could lose money. But again, it's an option. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy anything, but the general liability is the main thing that we offer. And then if you're concerned about it, which some people are, where they do have hundreds of thousands of dollars, at a warehouse or 2 warehouses, then of course we want to help you with that.
Right. So this is like some kind of a add-on.
Yeah, it's
for
an
like
add-on.
medium size and bigger sellers. It's pretty relevant.
I would say out of my 300 customers, 10 maybe have it. It's not a norm. It's really an exception of the rule.
Yeah, I guess my tip will be like, first check with your warehouse if they have some kind of policy, insurance that covers you as well. If yes, maybe you can skip it. If not, and you want to make sure, so yeah, we can add it as an add-on.
Exactly right. So they want to know what kind of business structure you are. Are you a corporation? Are you an LLC? Because the policy needs to be in the correct name of the company, right? Because it is a contract.
Most of the sellers are individuals. Yeah.
Right. Do you have more than 1 store? Most people don't. They're home based. Do you employ anybody? Nobody usually employs anybody. So you're running it yourself. The waiver of subrogation question doesn't apply to Amazon as much as it applies to construction contracts. And what that means is that who pays first, right? So if there's a claim, there's other insurance involved. The waiver of subrogation means that we will pay first, and if the other insurance company is able to pay, then fine, they're able to pay. We'll collect the money. We'll deal with it. You as a customer don't have to. And then, of course, the next question would be, how many owners do you have? Is it a partnership or is it just yourself? And what are your expected sales? This really is the most important factor in a lot of ways, because the more sales you make, the more exposure there is possibly to claims. So for most people, though, they're just getting started where they're being required to offer it. Their sales are at the $10,000 to $20,000 range. And so the rates are going to be very, very low. This also comes into effect with a lot of specialty people who might be also selling on Etsy, where they're creating their own stuff, where they're making jewelry, they're making clothing, they're making items, you know, for the home that are fancy and really neat to look at, artwork. So the question would be, you know, are you making your own thing, or are you private labeling it? Are you getting it from China, throwing your label on it, you know, Larry's Chinese clothing or whatever, versus the Chinese company that's making it and having their label on it? So we need to know the answer to that question. And then, is it an independent website or an Amazon website? Most people, it's going to be an Amazon, so we'll need your token number. And if, for instance, if I click the button here where it's Amazon, I'll need to also enter the token number into the system, as you can see, because they integrate with Amazon to track your sales, so that when your renewal comes next year, it's a much smoother process. You don't get a whole bunch of questionnaires. I get the renewal 90 days prior to your anniversary. We already know what your sales were. Therefore, we're able to get you a pretty much usually a flat renewal, which means what you paid last year, you'll pay this year. The only time that really changes is if you go, let's say, from 10,000 to 100,000 or 10,000 to 2 million. Then, of course, your rates will change.
I wish everybody to to pay this. I have a question. Does, like, if we choose just Amazon and website, that mean that we are covered only on these websites and marketplaces, or we're covered in the entire state or in the entire United States?
It's a great question, because the policy is for all your sales. So that's why we asked this, where are you else selling, right? I asked all you're on the form that we're filling out, what are all the sites that you're selling at? Can you provide all the URLs? Because we need to know, because it does add complexity possibly to the policy, but the insurance company does want to get a fair premium for what they're doing. You could just be on Amazon, but you could also have a retail shop in New York selling watches. And because it's Larry's watch shop that's also selling the watches on Amazon, but both the watches at the shop and the watches on Amazon will be covered.
Nice. Okay. And can we add retrospectively, like if we open another channel on Walmart, for example, can we go back to the policy and update it?
So this is what's called prospective underwriting rather than retrospective underwriting. With prospective underwriting, which is what these policies all are, they ask questions about the future. What do you perceive next year's revenues to be? What do you perceive the places you're going to be selling? Do you think you'll be buying property? All these kinds of questions do come up in prospective underwriting. But during the year, as you operate, you know, you should get as many places as you can and open up in Walmart, if you could open up a Walmart, or Etsy, if you could do Etsy, or eBay, if you can do eBay. The more places that you can create revenue, you should, right? And the question is, will all those be covered? Yeah, they'll be covered, because we're told that you were at Amazon, but during the year you did grow, you did add. You're going to tell us next year that you did all that, right? So then we'll be able to add those to the policy. The other part of it is that when you're looking at all these different sites that you're adding to it, it does beg the question, when did the claim occur, right? You just sort of said, look, I was selling on Etsy. I never told you. The claim came from Etsy. These are what are called claims made policies rather than incurrence or occurrence policies, so that when the claim is made, if you have the policy in effect, the policy pays. It doesn't matter. So for instance, if you're buying this policy for June 1 and you're up and running in June, and then in June 7th, we get an email, there was a claim in March, they got to adjudicate the claim in March because it's a claims made policy, and the policy was in effect when the claim was made.
Gotcha.
Now you also might have a mix of products. Some people like sell baby products, but they also sell baby furniture, or they sell baby creams or whatever might be, as an example. So I would have to click all the boxes and then put the percentage mix of what your sales are in order to get the accurate rate. So just to keep it simple, you know, one thing, and the policy that we're going to be getting is going to be able to cover that stuff. you're going to see I'm going to see a bunch of underwriting questions usually of, does your stuff have batteries in it? Does it have chemicals in it? Are you selling weapons? Are you selling marijuana-based products, products with magnets, products where the kid sleeps in it, right? Anything, by the way, baby-ish is always going to be kind of expensive because anytime a baby has a hiccup, it's life-changing for the parents, and the parents want to make sure that something happens because their baby might be tainted forever.
It's a bit like you're making a health insurance, and you need to be, answering questions like, do you smoke? What is your age? Do you have any previous, medical conditions, and so on? Well, it makes sense. It affects the rate.
There really is a balance between what's fair in premium and what's crazy in premium, right? And you want fair. So do I. We all want fair. So for the example we just went through, that was $315 for the year. If I wanted to, and which I do always, I want to try to get the lowest rate. I'll change that 15,000 to 5, because I do have some options here. Didn't change the rate, so this is the lowest rate. And the next thing will happen is I will then have this proposal ready for Guy's Jewelry. I will share the payment link so that if you want to pay and get this up and running, the link will go to your email. You then hit the button, and then you can pay with your debit card or your credit card. There are no Payoneers. There are no Wises. There's no electronic funds transfer. It's all credit or debit card related.
Yeah. So we see here the price, $315. This is per year. So guys, you can split it by months, add it to your P&L, and this is like an extra, expenses, OPEX and operational expenses of your business, saying like you're, I don't know, paying for a Helium 10 or any other software for Amazon. And as you can see, and as you can understand through the demo, the price, the rate that you will get is depending on, can you divide it like to two or three most important things, Larry? Like, what will
and the good
affect
thing is
the most?
You don't have to pay annually either. You can pay monthly, and there's no additional charges. There's no finance fees. There's no billing fees.
Yeah. Also, nice tip that I did it with one of the clients. We just had we made a Payoneer credit card. Most of the sellers are using Payoneer, so you can connect it, and then it just comes down from the money that you
that's cool. Yeah, Payoneer
make
works
on
really
Amazon,
well.
and it works. So what are the 2 or 3 things that affect the rate, as we understand? So as you mentioned, kids and baby stuff. So the most hazard, let's say, stuff that can cause some damage. Then the revenue, the annual revenue.
That's correct. If you're selling yarmulkes and books, and that's gonna be a much lower price than selling battery operated toys, right? And if your revenue is 100,000, your price is gonna be much lower than if it's 100 million.
Yeah. So we talk about like 300 to a couple of hundreds, up to, I guess, to $1,000 per year. Usually, this is the most of the insurance policies, right, that you have seen on Amazon.
I have 300 customers, right? My average premium is $1,000, believe it or not, because we have some that are really big with you,
Bigger.
right? That are paying quite a bit of money, but most generally, it's really it isn't expensive. You are getting a good value for your money, and you'll get good service. Once we have the policy sold, I will create your certificate of insurance so that you can upload it into the Amazon compliance system, and you will be approved. Sometimes there's a mistake where you gave me your name, but it's under the name that Amazon knows you as, right? So we're really careful to make sure we get the data that we need in order so you're not having to do it 5-6 times before they finally approve you. It can be very frustrating.
Yeah, and you mentioned the upload thing, so let's elaborate on that. You will get an email in the end from Amazon, stating, "Hello, please upload your insurance." So you heard it here. Don't be surprised if you get this email. This is actually in the Seller Central under Settings on the right upper corner, and in the settings, there's a specific place where you can upload the insurance. And this is how Amazon understands that you are covered, and they will stop sending you these emails. Otherwise, just expect them to send it over and over again, every couple of months. This is their job. So this is how you do that. And as you understand, you have us, and especially Larry, to approach once. He will help you with the insurance. If for any questions, hopefully not. It's like the joke that you go to a doctor and in the end you say, "Oh, hopefully not to see you again." So it's just some kind of a joke also with insurance agents. But if you do need, there's a mother and a father for the policy, and this is you, which is great. So again, there will be a link below this video for a quick and a short questionnaire where you need actually to put some data and answer questions that are related to the flow that you have just seen on the demo. And now you can relate maybe some of the questions, why I'm asked this question. So now you've seen it. After we get it, we will be able to craft your insurance and get the rate, and you guys can enjoy the full coverage and the help of Florence, which is great. I'm biased, but I can recommend because I have dozens of clients that already did it with you. So I know it works, guys. So thank you very much for the explanations. And guys, if you see this video and you have any other questions that we did not cover, you're welcome to ask them. I will make sure to track down Lawrence and have the answer for you to answer it in the YouTube or in the WhatsApp or whatever you see it. Thank you. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Click below if you want an insurance.